Today I want to do a review of the Turbosound Inspire iP1000. Firstly, to explain the unit a little bit, it is a 1000 watt column array system, and it comes with Bluetooth. It's got DSP with Clark Technique. There's been a lot of controversy amongst musos in South Africa about column arrays. A lot of guys went ahead and bought the Bose system, and a lot of guys were unhappy with it, especially guys playing in pubs and clubs on a regular basis. They found it was more of a gimmick. And so Turbosound brought this out as an answer to that, and we're going to find out today whether it really is. Okay, so firstly, you've got your bass unit, which has the amp system in it. This is an interesting system because there's two 8-inch drivers in here, which you wouldn't expect to be producing massive amounts of bass, but you'll be amazed at the bass that you will get from this unit. It's all controlled by the computer at the back here. So I've installed the app on my iPad for better reviewing purposes, and this allows you to control most of the features on the computer via your iPad or your iPhone. Unfortunately not Android at this stage, but it is quite handy. So I use my iPad for my words when I'm singing covers and that in venues, and so I keep this app running while I'm playing. I can control the three inputs, my A, B and my Bluetooth input. I can control the frequencies over here. I control my overall output here, and I can control the sub here. As I mentioned, the sub on this thing is quite powerful, and I often turn it down, especially if I'm getting a little bit of feedback or a little bit of boom from the back of the room. There's those presets, DSPs again, for music, for live, for speech, and for club. I mostly leave it on music. On live, even when I play some music, I often forget, so I just leave it, but you do have those presets. Here is that lock feature again. So I can lock the device, I can set a password, 4123. Now the device is locked, so if there's little kids running around and they happen to touch the buttons, nothing's going to happen. Okay, so they're unlocked. This just tells you what mode you're in. Here's the position again. So you'll see when you touch these buttons, the menu at the top also changes. So I was in the mode setting. Here's my position. I'm on wall at the moment. There's corner, there's floor. I mostly keep it on wall because it's in between the two, but I sometimes go to floor if I'm in the middle of far away from the wall. And backlight, which I never use. Perhaps you prefer to have it on sleep mode, but I like to always see what's happening on the bass unit at all times. So that's the app. Really basic, but very, very useful during a gig. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the column on the bass unit and show you how it all works. So how the column system works is there's 8 drivers. These drivers have been developed and invented by Turbosound themselves. They're specifically for this unit. Perhaps from an after-sales perspective, that's going to mean that when they break, they're going to be expensive to replace. But it's Turbosound, super reliable, and after-sales service is always really good. And so you've got your 8 drivers, and you've got your tweeter at the top. How they've engineered this is you've got your mid-range frequencies, and each speaker controls a different frequency, which is really interesting, which I'm not 100% sure how it works, but it spreads the frequencies really well, and then you go all the way to your tweeter at the top. Now what's interesting about this and what's different to the Bose system is the Bose system does not have a tweeter, and the Bose system, each speaker points in a different direction. The logic behind that was spread the frequencies around and allow the speaker to have a very wide angle spread. This unit has a but a narrower spread than the Bose system, but because each speaker is pointing in the same direction and because of the tweeter, it's got a louder and further throw on your sound. What this means is it's a more viable option for live music, whereas the Bose system was more geared towards corporate sound and small venues. This is still marketed as a small venue speaker, and I think after looking at the feature set is aimed directly at someone like me, a single one-man band. But I've used this to run a open mic night with bands and all sorts of artists outdoors, and just my one unit. In that kind of setting, you'd probably recommend 2 of these units to someone. Just that one unit handled an outdoor event with a band. So really, the capabilities of this compared to the Bose system is far more comprehensive in terms of live music. So we set up A for the vocals and B for the guitar. I've muted the system. My volume was already set for a previous gig. I'm going to turn that down. And I'm going to give us a little bit of volume on the mains. And now we're going to test our levels. Okay, so what happened now is, and something to bear in mind, is I use a microphone that needs phantom power. But with this system, unfortunately, there's no phantom power, mainly because they were gearing it towards one-man bands, and most mics, up until recently, are regular mics like an SM57, SM58, don't need phantom power. But there are a spate of new microphones, condenser / dynamic mics that need phantom power. Mine is the Rode M2. So if you're going to have the system and you're not going to have something in between that's going to give you phantom power, I would say just go with a regular dynamic microphone. So that is a small thing to remember with the system. So I'm just going to go get my dynamic mic. Okay, so we're ready to roll. I'm going to give us some overall volume, and then I'm going to set my levels. I'm in a small room, so check 1 2 1 2, check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 1 2, check. There we go. We're getting some volume. Maybe bring this down. Bring the mains up. 1 2 1 2, check. 1 2, yeah. 1 2. Let's put that at 0. That seems good. And then we're going to go for the guitar. Took the way home leads back to Southern Street. Okay, so our levels are set. At gigs I use a TC Helicon processor, and it enhances, it's meant for not so fancy speakers. It's meant for regular speakers, for low-end speakers, for guys that are just live musos, and it's supposed to enhance it through that. So to go back now and use this with my guitar, it's actually quite surprising the great sound you get through the system. Took the way home, it leads back to Southern Street. Down the water and home through the town. Cool. So what you won't hear is how balanced the sound is. A regular speaker system at this price point, this was on the floor I'm in South Africa. This was on the floor for 20,000. I got it for a special deal at 16,000 Rand. That sounds like a lot of money, but anything that can do what this system can do, I did my research. If you look at like any 2-speaker and subsystem that's geared towards a one-man band like myself, you're looking at anything from 40,000 Rand plus at this quality. So what you lose on volume, you gain on quality here. And the volume for this shouldn't be scoffed at. I've played this in very, very loud venues with 200 plus people in it, and it has coped. So from that perspective, this unit really is a great choice. It's road tested now, and it just keeps giving, and the more I use it, the more I enjoy it. Bass response is more than what you'd want, so you'd want to dial that down a bit at gigs. And the other cons to the system is you can't use the new range of condenser / dynamic mics that are coming out there, like the Rode M2, unless you've got, like I've got my TC Helicon with phantom power. Unless you have some go-between, you won't be able to use the system with a microphone that requires phantom power. So that kind of defies the point of going straight into the system. But if you've got a dynamic mic and your guitar and you get to a gig, it's perfect. The other big downside is, as I say, this is road tested. I've been playing with it for a good few months. This grill, over the first few months, it started to rattle more and more, and this little grill came loose slightly. Just ever so slightly. If I move it, I can just feel it tug just a little bit. But that's as far as it's gone, and it hasn't moved anymore. I spoke to the guys at Staccato Music. They said, "I must just bring it in. We're going to figure something out. We're either going to phone Turbosound, or we're going to take the grills out ourselves and just put some kind of rubber seal here to stop the vibration." And that's all really it needs. So that is a big con initially, but with a little bit of tweaking, and if you buy from a reputable dealer, that shouldn't be an issue. Other than that, I can't think of any major cons. This unit, for the price, is the best unit on the market for anyone. I can't think of anything else that I want to buy. It's light, it's compact. I bought myself a big car, and I actually don't need it, because once I bought this system, I didn't need all that space. I can't think of many cons to this system. So that's my review of the Turbosound Inspire iP1000. Please send me a comment. Please subscribe to my channel. If I left anything out, please let me know. If you have any questions about the units, it is my personal unit. I use it on a weekly basis, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about it.